Hello, everybody. Scott Roberts here with Explore Scientific, and this is the OpenGOTO Community Live program. This is our 12th segment here, which is great. And it's Friday. Yay!
Friday,
It's
when?
Friday.
Friday. Thank
Yeah,
God it's
so no
Friday.
show tomorrow or Sunday, but we do have a great show for you tonight at 5:30 with Gary Palmer, a closer look at the sun. So that's going to be cool. We have and Gary Palmer's on with us right now. Hi, so nice to see you there, Gary. Let's go ahead and get started. Jerry, you wanted to discuss something about the configuration manager, I guess, for the Android version.
Right, exactly. So on episode 9 the other day, we discussed how to install the Android Explore Stars, and part of that is getting the database loaded. And I made a mistake when I presented that that I want to correct
What?
right now. And I'm not perfect. I don't mind admitting that sometimes.
That's the one for the week.
Sometimes.
That's one for the week. That's all you get.
That's right. So if you
How
see
often
my
do you like, how often do you actually like admitting that you've done something wrong? I mean, you know,
Yeah, like it. I like it this
yeah,
time because it helps everybody. Whenever it helps everybody, that's when I like it. If
I see.
if
I see.
if it's just because I screwed up and it's personal and it's just painful for myself, when I'm working
Your
on stuff.
ego's all like destroyed and
Yeah,
stuff.
like I'm stupid, when I'm working on something and I say, "Why did I do that?" That's when I don't like it.
Okay. All right. I'll let you explain now what happened.
All right. So yeah, so what happened was I skipped a step, and it's on the forum also, but so I'm going to start from bringing the configuration manager up here. And so we were trying to install to the SD card. And I've got the SD card installed in my machine right now. And you can see on the directory, the Explore Stars directory here. So I'm going to delete this directory and make sure it's not here. So there's two steps to this problem. There's a bug in the configuration manager that we're going to fix, that get fixed pretty quick, and then there's my mistake. So I'm going to demonstrate both at the same time here. Okay. So first of all, we'll go through the process. You put the SD card in, you select the drive.
Okay.
Okay. And what I did last week is I just went to install. That's bad. You need to go to step 1 here. I
Oh,
started at
yeah,
step
where it
2.
actually says step one.
It
Okay.
says step 1, right? Download
Hmm.
database. So that's what you have to do first. So you install the SD card. It goes and gets the database, and it knows which one to get based on this radio button. So I'm going to hit download, and it says it takes a few minutes, but that's not the truth. It takes a few seconds. And so while it's doing that, you can see on the message it says downloading file, please wait, and then it says it was successful. Okay. So you get message 7 and 8 here. So we got the database. That's great. So now I've selected the drive. It's E drive. There's no Explore Stars directory on the SD card on the root. Okay. So I'm going to hit install. That's what you get.
Ah.
It says could not find a part of the path, E Explore Stars. So that directory is missing. Like you saw how I
Yeah.
removed it. So you can hit continue, and it'll just continue. So now, to fix that, what you have to do is you have to do new folder.
Need to make an Explore Stars folder.
Yep, you have to create the Explore Stars folder. So you just do that, Explore Stars, and it's there now.
No space. One
So
word.
No
Capital
space,
S.
all one word, capital E, capital S.
why didn't it make this folder for us automatically?
Because that's the feature, the bug, however you want to look at it, that's in Configuration Manager right now. That's a bug that's in this
The bug.
program.
Okay, so it's something we'll fix. Okay.
Right, something that Chris is going to fix. Right. So now let's see if I can hit. I'm hoping that I can hit this install and it can pick up from where it is. I may have to restart the the configuration manager. We'll see. So I'm going to hit install again. And the message didn't pick up, which is good.
It looks like you got a spinning wheel.
Yep. So what band, what song is a spinning wheel song from? What band? Oh, well. All right, so it did it.
I think it's,
All right.
it wasn't Earth, Wind, and Fire, that's for sure.
No. So so if you look at the message now, so it deleted the existing DB and then unzipped it, and it found now. So the main reason I found that this was wrong too is when I showed it last week, I didn't do this download, and it had the Windows stuff in here instead of the Android stuff. So the Android requires a SQLite file. That's a database file. And you can, if you look at the Windows structure, it's totally different. So if you go, now when you go to images, now it's got this stuff. So that's how you know if it's Android or not. If it's got the SQLite file, that's Android.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Steve Ameling said blood, sweat, and tears.
Yep. Blood, sweat, and
If
tears.
that's the winner, then Steve, send your email over to Kent at explorescientific.com, and we'll mail you a Wilterian. We'll send you a Wilterian.
A whole human one?
Yeah. That's
it's a Wilterian spinning wheel, right?
It's
that's
it's kind of a spinning wheel, but it's a beautiful double-sided planisphere, you know.
Right, it's a planisphere.
And it's Wilterian's latest creation, you know, so super accurate.
Is that exclusive only to Explore Scientific?
That's right. That's right. Good job, Steve.
Yep.
Good job.
That wasn't planned either. That was a kind of a spur of a moment thing.
Yeah.
But it worked well.
Worked well. Yeah.
All right, so that's my spiel. I'm done with my topic.
Are you? Okay, so. All right. And so where do we go from here, Ken?
All right, well, there was a question came up on the PMC-Eight users group from user Zach, and I worked with him on the phone a couple of times, and in fact talked with him a little while ago. He could not get his PMC-Eight box, in this case the Exos 2, to connect to his Windows machine, even though it was connected wirelessly. So he tried turning off his firewall and disabling his virus protection. And he got a tablet from a friend or somewhere, an Android tablet, and downloaded the app. And it connects to the app and it connects to the mount and moves the mount. But his Windows machine is not able to make the mount move. He's got the app downloaded, the database downloaded, but he keeps coming up with a please wait. And this has happened to us a couple of times, and it's frustrating on the user's end because the machine works. They can do everything they normally do on it, but it will not work with the PMC-Eight system and hook up wirelessly. What do you think's going on, Jerry?
Well, this could be, like you said, we've seen in the past where the virus protection has stopped the network connection. UDP is a streaming protocol, and sometimes that's considered an unsecure type of connection. So there could be stuff related to that. I'm trying to think of other things that might cause it. It could be your wireless environment. We've seen that where it's too much noise.
That's happened to me. That happens like at trade shows.
There's too much traffic, and you just cannot make. Even though you said you connected, it's not. Yeah. It's not reliable.
Yeah, it shows a connection. It says everything's okay, and it's really not communicating. You know, because.
So in that case, you need to use the dongle that we ship with the PMC-Eight to try to change the channel on the PMC-Eight so that it uses a different Wi-Fi channel, and just because
you can get it to work with the Android right now, and I haven't done that test with him. You need to immediately check and see if you can get it to work on the Windows machine, because the wireless environment right now might be different than 6 hours ago. And so there's a variable in there you have to work with as well.
Well, the other variable is depending on the quality of the device also. So Windows devices are typically pretty good quality, but we've seen this in Android, not so much on the iPhone, but Android variations in the quality of the tablet you buy will be a big key on whether the wireless is reliable or not.
Oh,
also.
yeah. Right.
It may be something in the if you're using a laptop, it could be typically the wireless antenna is located on the LCD panel somewhere near the top. But again, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
And Jerry said iPhone. It does not work on an iPhone. It's only iPad. It was
iPad, right?
Slip of the tongue.
Yep.
But to be clear, it's only for tablets right now.
We have a question from Uladrak, and he says, Jerry, before I do also download the database, he said, before I do also download the database, but when the error window popped up, then I closed the config manager, and then I go to step 2. That's why this SQL file was not there. Does that make sense?
Maybe you could type in a different way of saying that.
Yeah, try
step
that.
2. Is he referring to step 2 in the forum message that I posted earlier today?
Could be.
I think, or step 2 on what we just showed on the configuration manager.
Oh, step 2, right,
Yeah.
on the configuration manager.
And Matthew Croft wants to know if he can ask anything Astro-related or if he has to keep his question to PMC-8 relevance.
No, he can ask anything he wants.
You can ask anything you want, man.
Whether we answer it or not, is up to us.
Maybe we don't know the answer.
That's right.
It's a big universe, man. Yeah. Uladrak says, Jerry, yes, we posted today. I am Wolfgang.
So I want
to say,
I want to give a shout out to Wolfgang. He and I have been working on talking back and forth a little bit. And to put in perspective for him, he stayed up until midnight to watch this broadcast. So It's now, so he's in Germany. It's now 13 minutes after midnight. Thanks, Wolfgang, for staying up and being with us. We appreciate that dedication.
That's right. Well, he's an astronomer, right? So he's wide awake.
Oh, he's wide awake.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to thank Wolfgang also for, really putting our feet to the fire and tracking down this issue, because it just went over my head the other day.
Yeah. And that Uladrak is Wolfgang, is what he said Wolfgang. There. So yeah, that's what's got. Yeah. So all right.
Yeah, and he says thank you. So. Yeah.
All right. So Matthew, go ahead and
ask your question,
and we'll go on down the list. Looks like user James Nichols has made some progress on getting the configuration manager to work on a Macintosh Apple Linux platform. He went back to some really old coding he found on a server somewhere that was sort of, I understood the concept of what he's talking about, but he's doing some testing tonight, and he may have got it cross-platform with some finagling. What all did he do, Jerry?
So he found some open source code that was available on the Parallax. Parallax is the company that built the processor that we use in the PMC-Eight. It's called the Propeller 1 chip. And there was an early cross-platform code. I think it was BLT or BLST or something was the name of the code that he found that's open, that they made versions for Linux and Windows and Mac, I think. So he tried that. He got that code and used it. And this was a bootloader, basically, is what it is. It's a bootloader tool. That's what BLT stands for, I think. And so that code's available. He found it on the Parallax website somewhere. and tried it out, and it looks like it worked for him on Linux, I think is what platform he was using it on. And so we've got this source code now. So to me, it's an opportunity for the OpenGOTO community programmers out there to create a version of the configuration manager that would work on the Linux platform and also the Mac OS platform, since it's pretty much Linux also.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry, do we have any feel for how many people are using Mac or Linux boxes to run PMC-8? Is there a way to gauge that at all?
Well, based on the people that I've seen mention it in the forum, I would expect, and Michael Fulbright is to thank for this too, because he developed the Indie driver that allows it to run under those platforms. I would say it's between 3 and 7. Yeah, probably around 5. Yeah, at each one time. So I've seen several people mention it and talk about them trying it out. Now, how many people actually still use it, or they, they've worked on it harder. I know there's several people, more than probably 5 or more, that actually probably use it.
So Matthew has asked a question. Yeah, Matthew, anybody can email me anytime. Matthew lives here locally. He can come by the store anytime. He asked, looking for a Barlow for imaging. Which one should I get from you guys, from Explore Scientific? And he asked an ancillary question, not related at all to the first one. Does the G11 ever go on sale?
The G11 never goes on sale. We can't keep them in stock. And we never have been able to. They are made. It's a limited production run every time. The Losmandy facility is runs nonstop. 7 days a week. I think. I've been there several times, and it's not a giant operation, and there are no super giant operations in the whole telescope industry. It is a cottage industry, okay? So generally where you'll see something go on sale is when you will see manufacturers faced with minimum order quantities where, hundreds or thousands of them have to be purchased in order to hit an MLQ. That's not the case with the G11. The G11 is made, in runs of 20 to 50 units, something like that, and then they use, I think, the same machines to make other models of the equatorial mounts and plates and all the rings and all the other stuff that Losmandy makes, including he also makes stuff for the movie industry. So he makes rails and stuff like that to move motion picture cameras with, and that kind of thing. And that's a big part of his business. We have, I should mention some of the people that are watching tonight. We got Gary Palmer, who's going to be on later with us. Bogdan Arami, he says hello. Ron Delvaux, he says hello. Of course, Steve, our winner of our music contest. Wolfgang from Germany. Matthew, who you mentioned earlier. Amy the Astro, she's on with us. She wanted to know if anyone here shot the moon and Venus. Okay, not sure if I certainly didn't. And Chuck Ayub's on watching. So Bogdan Arami, I think I mentioned earlier. And anyways, welcome everybody. We are simulcasting on Facebook and YouTube right now. And Bergman Scooter, hooray, he made it. Maybe he was lurking in the background. We don't know. Anyhow.
So Scott, why don't you talk about Matt's question? We got sidetracked on the cottage industry G11.
Oh, about the
question.
Which kind of Barlow should you use?
Right.
Matt, I would answer it like this. Probably it would be more sensor size related. If you're using a huge sensor, I would probably go with our 2-inch 2X focal extender. But if you have a just half frame type sensor or smaller, the 1.25" 2x would be fine. That kind of projection imaging is called telenegative projection, and it works out very well. But there's also eyepieces that you could use, so you need to kind of check into what kind of image scale that you're looking at, what kind of size sensor that you're using, that kind of thing. Most of the time you're doing this, you're imaging planets and maybe the moon. I have seen people use this kind of focal or telenegative projection and eyepiece projection for imaging planetary nebulas, like to blow them up huge, get tons of magnification. So something that is fun to check out.
Okay.
I don't know if we lost Jerry here.
I had a network connection problem, so you may have seen me freeze there for a minute. I just switched off my video to see if it would come back. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So,
and then you say, I've been able to image once with the ASI Air last week, and I got to tell you, it changed my life. I've been a Mac guy my whole life, and I just couldn't get the ASCOM Windows stuff. I have an extra one if y'all want to borrow it sometime. Cool.
An extra what?
ASI Air, I believe.
Yeah, ASI Air.
Yeah, that's a Raspberry Pi unit, I believe, running Linux. Isn't that correct?
Right.
I think so.
So, Bogdan and Ermi ask regarding the Exos 2 clock dials for the polar alignment on the polar scope. With which time zone should it be used? I think he's talking about the setting circles.
Yeah, for the polar alignment, to know where to rotate the RA axis is what he's asking about. Those clock circles are used to set the hour angle or the right ascension for the local time.
So here's how I do it. I can show you real quick on my phone. There we go. Polar Align Pro, and it shows the reticle. Can you see that?
No, that is so cool.
So it shows exactly the reticle and exactly the hour angle right now. So this is customizable by going up to the settings. I literally posted this on the forum a little while ago. Go up here to the settings, a little gear, and tap it, and then you can go in and select. It says right over here something like Older, Skywatcher, Meade, Celestron, Orion, and select it, and then it gives you that reticle right there, so you know exactly where to put it. And if you look, notice that Polaris is not in the circle anymore because pre-session, Polaris has moved out of the circle and is now setting right on top of the 40-degree mark. So it's going to continue to move over time. So my phone was
40 minute mark.
Who makes that app? Who makes that?
I have no idea. It's on the iPhone. It's Polar Scope Align, PS Align. I paid $3 or whatever for the Pro model, which gets you a little bit more. But on the non-Pro model, you still get to change the reticle. And there's other similar versions out there for Android as well. So that's how I do it, and it's just a whole lot quicker. And you know, it's using modern tools to do something that took time to do, you know, more time to do and learn. And you know, it's that balance between.
Well, here's a whole website on it.
You're looking at PS Align Pro.
It's the Polar Scope Alignment app for iPhone and iPad. And so I will post that up on Facebook and YouTube.
There is so if you do want to actually use the setting circles that are on the device, on the mount, you can search for Skywatcher or Meade and Celestron have old manuals that show detail how to use those circles. We talk about it in our manual some, but I don't know that we provide the detail that the older style. It's on the LXD75 mount, and but it is cumbersome. You have to have a watch anyway. You have to know how to set the circle up to align it. So it's like a separate alignment for that clock, for that circle to rotate and set it before you can actually use it.
And are the circles big enough to have fine enough detail to be very, very accurate on it, you think?
It's probably accurate enough for visual use. That's really what all it's designed for.
Okay.
It's not really for astrophotography.
And even this way, using the PS Align Pro is not for astrophotography. If you're going to be doing astrophotography, you need to be, that gets you close, but you need to use drift alignment, or to really nail down that precision that you want to really get it precise. All these tools we offer are simply get really close, but they're not get it really exact.
Chuck Ayub's on with us. I believe that he likes to use the Pullmaster. Is that right, Chuck? If you're still watching.
Yeah, a lot of people use Sharp.
They do use that, yeah. So it's a nice thing. And then there's other software that can help you tweak in your polar alignment if you're doing imaging.
Sharp, and they use a version of drift alignment. They watch how it moves, and then it gives you a feedback loop on which way to adjust your mount.
Right.
So you zero it out.
Yeah, but you can tell how important polar alignment is in all of these conversations. So.
All right. So Wolfgang says, other thing, at a German forum, I was asked, can I type the GPS data by hand because I can type only 2 numbers? Well, I show how to input by hand because most tablets show, and then he cut off. So you can type in your GPS in the, I assume that we're talking about Explore Stars, Wolfgang. You can type it in. You should be able to put in 8 or 10 characters if you can get it down that far. The one thing you have to be careful is you have to convert the time from hours, minutes, seconds to decimal, and there's online calculators that can do that. So you have to be careful to get the numbers don't just type in differently the hours, minutes, seconds in the decimal system. So you have to convert it. And I don't know the math on that. I've looked it up, but I don't have it memorized. I just use a calculator.
My network dropped out again. Did you notice that?
Are you getting bad like lightning strikes or something? Or
no, not right now, but there may be. I don't know what it is. It could be our local Comcast having problems somewhere.
Well, it looks like all the monitors behind you are still up and running. So
that's right. Yeah, we were able to do the launch earlier. So
that's cool.
NASA has generators. Hey, Scott, you were talking about cottage industry a while ago, and I had a conversation, last night or 2 nights ago with a customer. How much of a cottage industry is this? I mean, we've got, looking around, there's 272 people work in this building, right?
Just in your office, right?
Yes, just as a customer service.
No, a lot of people are shocked to know that the entire telescope industry, now no one knows the exact number of what it is because our industry is not even large enough to have its own trade organization. Okay, so we don't have a trade organization, so there's not a lot of data on how many telescopes are sold or exactly how big it is. But estimates range per year. This is annual sales worldwide of all kinds of telescopes. Everything from a Galileo scope all the way up to let's say a plane wave. Okay, that whole industry probably hovers around $350 million a year annually. Okay. I think that's the amount of money that one 7-Eleven does on a weekend or something. It's no, and all to be very honest with you, a lot of people feel that this has got to be at least as big as, let's say, a bicycle manufacturing or something like that. It's really not. It's very small. There are tons of people that are super interested in astronomy and looking up at the stars. But it's kind of like how many people might call themselves a birder. There are millions and millions of birders out there. The birding industry, that community includes people who just put out bird seed. Okay, not serious birders that go out and count, how many different species they can find, or know something really about birds. So, so every telescope is made by hand, no matter how small it is, or how big it is, and it's a very specialized industry, and I love it. I love being in it. It's great. It's interesting. We get to interact with people like you out in the audience, and it's a business where we have customers discovering things, and whether it's discovering Saturn's rings for the first time in their lives, or actually finding a new comet. So it's really, really amazing.
Well, we leverage the industry leverages the goodwill of our customers. It's really a symbiotic interaction between customers and all the companies that are in this industry were created by customers.
Pretty much. There are people in the industry that they go to work. When they go home, they don't want to think about a telescope. They don't want to think about they're not they're specialized sometimes within business. The accounting people,
right.
the people that might work in the warehouse delivering the product, for example, that kind of thing. So most amateur astronomers can't imagine that. Gosh, if they worked in a place where you were selling telescopes and talking to people about astronomy all day, that would be their dream job. Well, they should work in customer service and sales. And so if somebody out there is looking to work in customer service, give us a call.
And wants to move to Springdale, Arkansas.
That's right. Yeah, you got to move to Arkansas too. So, yeah. But you'll love that. It's great here.
And so Scott moved from California here and hadn't moved back. So there's got that going for
Yeah,
Okay.
I love it.
So Cohen showed up. Hey, Cohen, good to see you on the list. Bogdan Ermi had a comment. For the Android, the app is not that good. I suspect the install is somewhat difficult, but the app itself is probably the most robust of the three versions. Jerry, can you weigh in on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think typically what I've heard, if you're not an iPad user or a Mac Apple person, then people like the Android very much. They prefer it over anything. Mm-hmm. And there's quite a few people that use the Android version. So there are slight differences between each of the apps because the platforms are a little bit different in terms of the human-machine interface and the displays we show. But we're trying to get that closer and closer as we go on. Windows is the biggest difference between the other two. But it's if you've got experience with other types of hand controllers that are physical little display systems, it is a big jump to go from that to a tablet-based hand control system.
Yeah, that's true.
So that could be frustrating sometimes where you don't expect the way things.
But that's also true the other way around. There are
right.
people
So if you have expectations,
very comfortable with using their smartphones or their tablets or whatever, and now they've got to go through the learning curve of using a hand controller, and boy, I can tell you the hours, the thousands of hours that we spent with customers at Meet Instruments explaining how to go, even to jump from the modes in the AutoStar system, which was literally just toggling the mode key. But we would walk them through it, you know. And Amy the Astro is asking or making a comment. I switched my mount Exos 2 GoTo with PMC-8 to serial mode. I can connect it to APT and slew around, but whenever I try connecting to K-stars, I keep getting a timeout error.
So is this This is through the wireless interface?
She said just serial mode.
Oh, okay, serial mode. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard to say. There's got to be some interaction going on between K-stars and the So this driver, if you're using the Indy driver, that was developed in the OpenGOTO community by Michael Fulbright, and he says when you download it off the Indy website, it says it's a beta. It's in beta mode because not that many people have used it. You may have discovered an issue that nobody's seen yet that may be related to that failure.
And go on the forum and
right and ask about it. Right. And right, Michael Fulbright is on the forum, so you can find him and send him a personal message on the forum, or you can just post the message, and I can make sure that he gets it also.
Okay, so Egon's with us. Hi, Egon. Good to see your name pop up. Gary Palmer has listed another link, Simple Guide to Using Setting Circles. It's a Sky and Telescope article. Those things are very solid. Sky and Telescope produces great articles, chock full and well edited. Cohen asked, what would be a good investment to improve the IXOS 100 and my photography kit for some nice deep space stuff? Budget around $500.
Narrowband filter.
Sir?
Maybe a narrowband filter of some sort.
There's two ways to attack it. From the Exos 100, obviously going to the azimuth adjustment adapter for $69 or $99, whatever it is a good way because it lets you get more precision in your polar alignment.
Oh, that's true. And the better tripod, all those things.
And you going with the heavy duty tripod.
Sure.
So now, at that point then, as Scott said, going with some narrowband filters, and Cohen's in Belgium, which has just a wee bit of light pollution, bad light pollution. That will improve your deep sky photography probably as much as anything else, other than improving your polar alignment and heavier tripod, which in the original scheme of things, we had not planned any of those things because it wasn't really aimed at this market, but this market has embraced it, and that's why, Scott authorized the creation of the azimuth adjustment plate and coming up with ways to put heavier tripods on it.
Well, the other thing with that is that this particular product has got a very wide market in terms of astronomy customers, from the very beginners because it's inexpensive to the advanced astronomers out there that want to use it as another one of their tools to do, science or wide field science work. It's available for that, and it performs at that level. So that's another reason that the app may seem cumbersome, and the working and the flexibility of the setup. It just gives you more ways to either do what you want to do or do what you don't want to do. It can help you make mistakes also because you're going down the wrong path. So it's very flexible in that regard, and it just sometimes it's hard to get it right the first time when you're doing your setup.
So Bogdan says that he was referring to the app for the reticle. The Explore Stars is great for Android. Let's see. Cohen says, asking about, yes, I was kidding. just a wee bit, about a wee bit of light pollution in Belgium and basically all of Europe as well. Just a wee bit, kidding. Narrowband filters is an infrared filter. Is that the same? When we're talking about narrowband filters, Cohen, we're talking about typically either multi-band, but they're almost always going to be H alpha, triple ionized oxygen, and double ionized sulfur to give you the red, green, blue, or red, blue, green, or whatever it is. I always get those backwards. And those allow you to then assign them artificially to the red, blue, and green to create the image that we see. You know, there's a number of different filters out there. You can spend a serious amount of money on them if you want to, but most of the pictures you see are going to be taken with filters like that or some variety thereof.
Yeah, the trend today, and it's been for a while now, is to use the Hubbell palette colors for these narrowband filters to make images that look like the Hubbell images. The way the colors are mapped to those bands. But there's also light pollution filters and sodium filters, sodium filters, UHC filters, I think they're called.
Yeah.
Ultra high contrast.
Yeah, and some of them can get kind of pricey, but they're difficult. Some of these narrowband filters have like up to 90 layers or more of coatings on them, so they're tricky to make, and the quality of them has to be really perfect. And so once you're making narrowband filters or line filters, each one has to be tested. They have to have their own graph, and the ones that don't make it, got to chuck them. You can't recoat these things. So
and what they do is they're called narrowband because they take the full width of the spectrum and then take out just a tiny, tiny, tiny nanoscale slice of light and ignore everything else so that all the light pollution you see is gone. The camera doesn't see it. The sensor doesn't get it. And therefore, you're able to take pictures through light pollution. I've got a customer, Chuck Ayub, who lives in Detroit, another customer who lives in the Bronx or Brooklyn, New York, does, wonderful stuff in one of the most light polluted places on Earth.
Yeah, the trade-off is you turn your nice high QE, quantum efficient CCD into a piece of film that's got 2% efficiency.
Yeah.
So you have to do
longer.
20 minutes. That's a trade-off.
What's better, shooting longer, which you can do from your backyard,
or not shooting,
or think about, okay, I'm going to wait once a month to go to my dark sky site and drive. Back in the old days, we didn't have these kinds of filters. I was living in Orange County, which is fairly light polluted. We'd drive 3 hours, one way to get to our dark sky observing site, and you could only do a limited amount of work. If you are set up in your backyard with narrowband filters, you can operate every clear night, or even every partially clear night. So even when there's a lot of moon, you can still work.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It can increase your productivity quite a bit. Is it great to be out in super dark skies? Of course. But how many of us live in that situation? So.
Cohen asks, can you use narrowband light filters and light pollution filters together? Effectively, the narrowband filter, because you're picking the filter you pick decides what narrow band is being accepted. Everything else is being rejected. So the effect is yes, it is a light pollution filter because of the way it works.
Yeah.
Wolfgang said, I can use my club 16-inch Schmidt Cassegrain if I want, but for me, when I use my scopes in the garden, it's the iXOS 100, perfect. And the price is not so much as some with hand boxes. So that's That's exactly the way what we're shooting for. It's a great system. It's easy to use around the house. Takes a medium, small telescope, and you
Yeah,
can do
it's
great
go
personal work
to.
with
It
it.
auto guides. It also will handle quite a bit of weight. So it's a nice solution for a lot of people.
Okay, Scott Ansel Puri wants to
Uh-huh.
know your secrets. Which dark
Yeah.
sky site are you referring to?
Ansel, back in the day when I lived in Laguna Hills, I would drive to the Anza Borrego State Park, okay, to a place called Little Blair Valley. It was my secret spot for a long time. It, over the years, became kind of a popular place because we would bring, I would bring upwards of 100 to 200 people out there at a shot. So, it's hard to keep a secret spot secret, but it's a beautiful place to go, and no facilities out there. I mean, you are out there in the wilderness, and so we would go out there. You do need to follow park rules and stuff. You can't park, I think, more than one car length off the side of the road because it's a fragile environment. So
I will look up and see what the light pollution looks like now there. Um, where was it, Scott? What was the name of
it's called
the
Little
place?
Blair Valley.
Spell it.
Little, Blair, Blair. And Valley,
I got
Valley.
spell that. I thought you said Little Glare Valley.
Oh, glare, yeah. Yeah. It was Egon that's watching the show. He would go out there with me a lot, and we had a lot of great times out there.
Not sure
Awesome. Thanks for spilling the secret.
what city's close to it.
It's in the Anza Borrego State Park. Go east of San Diego.
Okay, hang on.
Or maybe, it's out in the middle of nowhere. So, to get out to the Salton
No.
Sea is like half a day's drive from there. It's pretty far out in the desert. But
So
anyhow,
I'm
yeah.
getting a map up.
Are you?
There's Borrego Springs. I found it.
Okay.
It's
Springs,
yeah,
not too far.
not okay. It's let me hang on. How to share my screen now?
In the 1980s, it was really dark. I don't know what it's like today. What are my dark sky secrets here in Northwest Arkansas? Well, Matthew, actually, we know of a couple. Where's the place that we were going to have the star party, Kent?
I'll show it on the map here in a second. So I've got my
Okay.
screen up
You
now.
got your screen up? Let me share the
Yeah.
screen.
So are we up?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's Borrego Springs right here. So
There's Mexicali. There's San Diego. Okay. So you're in Borrego. Ocotillo Wells is out there.
yep. So you're looking at
And there's the Salton Sea.
there's a better. So where would we click at to where's the
You're
park
in
at?
in the range right there.
Okay, so we'll just click right there. It's oh, they've changed this. I love how they change things. Let's try this. Yeah, this has a
Class
class
3.
3 mortal. Yeah, decent still.
Oh yeah,
Especially
you
when
could see the Milky Way all the way down the horizon there.
But that was how many years ago, Scott?
In the 80s, but I think you probably still could today.
Yeah. So
They didn't really. The cities have gotten bigger over the years,
yeah.
but
Right here's Rodeo, Arizona
that's
Sky Village
dark. That's dark,
is
dark
right
out
in
there.
here.
Yes.
Rodeo, New Mexico, Arizona Sky Village is right there. That's dark, dark, dark.
Yeah, I went to a
So
star party out there, and I could not see my feet, which kind of scared me because around that area is a bunch of cactus. And I just could see myself stumbling over a cactus and doing a face plant on a, a choyo cactus or something, which would have
So
really been horrible.
so right here is where we are. This is where
Yeah.
Springdale is.
Yeah.
And we're having a star party, and this makes it look worse than it is. This down here in the Kiamichi National Forest, I've driven down there once, and it's a pretty dark spot. The problem is, we've talked about having a star party down there, but there's no facilities. It's in totally undeveloped, which makes it tough. So we had a star party.
And
right
it's dark
here.
out there too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's dark. The Milky Way looked very, very nice, especially the Milky Way was off to the east. We have a good friend that lives here in Pettigrew in the Boston Mountains, right in here somewhere. And it's dark out there. It's very dark and you look at the eastern United States, this is the Buffalo River Valley, the south side of it. You've got a little patch up here in Missouri, and otherwise,
Go to where I'm at in Virginia.
Yeah, that's where I was going. You get up here in the North Woods of Maine is the only other big part. Now, there's a little patch right there in West Virginia. I guess I'm going maybe the wrong way.
Yeah, you're zooming
Dark
out.
out in the middle of the ocean.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jerry.
So let's find Richmond in Virginia.
There's Richmond right there.
All right, so now go north of there to Fredericksburg. See the little tail off of the Washington, D.C. area? Up, you're down south a little bit. Yep, there's Fredericksburg. All right.
Right.
So I'm west of there. See
There's
Orange? See the little town of Orange there? Right to the left of Fredericksburg?
Right here.
Yep,
Ah.
I'm in between there.
You're right in here.
Yep.
Yep.
That's where I'm at.
Which is,
So,
not
where's
terrible.
Mark Slade Remote Observatory from here?
That's right.
Yeah, that's.
The
So
Mark
where is
Slade
the-
MSRO is
Okay.
right in between there.
So if
So
you look at see Unionville, go east a little bit of Orange.
There's
See-
Unionville.
All right, so go east a little bit more.
What are we
There's a
looking
lake.
for?
You can see
There's a
Lake of the
little lake
Woods. That's
right
not
there.
it. Let's go east a little bit more. Let's see here.
There's a little lake right here.
See, no, go see up here, the lake up here at the top.
This one? There's
No.
Lake of the Woods. I got
That's
it.
Lake of the Woods. That's where I live.
Okay. So where's MRSO on this map?
Okay, MSRO is right over here. See, this is the intersection of Route 3. MSRO is right here.
Whose map is up on the screen? Is that yours?
You don't see my cursor. It's
Here.
No. There it is. Okay. Is that Jerry's screen up?
no. So so
Okay.
if you see where the two roads come into a fork there
Yep,
at Wilderness.
Wilderness? Yes,
it's
sir.
it's like go over to the right, just a little right. You're close, right there, right around there is where
Right in
MSR. Yep.
Okay. So right in there, we're going to zoom out now. Boy, you got everything to the east. You got Richmond, or what is that, Fredericksburg?
Fredericksburg. Mhm.
So I'm sure everybody's enjoying the geography lesson right now. So, all right. Sitting here looking. Steve Ameling, I'm getting started considering Exos 2 GT would be using a Sigma
Yeah. So
150.
I asked Steve, does he want freeware or paidware? Okay.
Yeah.
Paid where?
Probably, I think some of the best imaging clients out there, if you're buying it, would probably be like Maxim DL. What do you guys use at the MSRO?
Yeah, we use Maxim DL. We also use SharpCap, which is free when you buy certain cameras.
Yeah.
What else do I use? That's used to use Nebulosity. There's
Yeah,
another one
I've
that you
heard
could
that.
use with DSLRs. That's free.
Steve said paidware is fine. So,
Maxim DL.
yeah.
That's a great platform. That has, it'll control the mount, it'll control the camera, it does everything.
Does everything. controls the whole observatory. That's what we use it
Yeah.
for.
And it's a program, it's a mature program. It's been out there for, I don't know, 15,
Almost 20
years.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
long time.
Cesar Barolo showed up. Hi, Cesar. Good to see you.
Yeah. Well, great, everybody.
right.
We've been on for about an hour here, and it's been awesome having you all. And we hope that you all have a great weekend. Maybe get some clear skies and get out there and enjoy your telescopes. We will see you all on Monday. Tonight, Gary Palmer will be on with us starting in about half an hour. So really excited to have have him show his images, his solar images, and he's going to share secrets of some of his image processing. So if you're interested in solar work or just looking at really awesome images, you're going to want to tune in tonight in about half an hour here on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks, everyone, and good night.